New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
Yo, 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 yo. It's a movie, y'all. Surprise, surprise. It's me, Latin Assassin, Lee Escobedo, my girl, Ebony, former D1 baller. We're in the house tonight. JLS and Ryan could not make it for various reasons, so we're holding down the fort. Don't worry, y'all. It's gonna be a quick one. I know it was a big, massive L. Everybody wants the All-Star break to start, so we need some rest. Our guys get back healthy, so we're gonna keep it short and sweet. And I think it's for me, I don't want to talk too much about a game where we lost by 18. I'd rather talk about the first half of the season. Me and Ebony been here holding down the fort since the season started, rookie of the year. So I want to jump into some things about the season that we liked and didn't like. Before we do that, we'll touch on the game a little bit. I'm gonna pass the rock to you, Ebony. What did you think about this game? What were some things that you liked about it, even though we were really depleted roster wise? What were your overall thoughts?
I'm not gonna get too down on them, but again, we got to play with who we have. And my thing today was I was surprised about the defense. It wasn't even them like beating us up, so to say, or posting us up or using their height. To me, a lot of the times they were just blowing right by us, and they were the bigger player. So that was a little surprising to me. But I like what I did like today was I like the growth. I see growth in Sims. You're seeing Precious a little bit more every day of what he can add to the team, or yeah, or you see a little his offensive bag today. So yeah, I like that. I like that. But Brunson, of course, is a killer. I love that part. It doesn't matter. He's looking. It doesn't matter who you are. He had bigger people in him all day. He kept putting them in the post. I seen him see Franz Wack. Was it Franz? And he was like, "All right, let me post you up," and did like a little sky hook on him. So yeah, I like stuff like that. And when he gets some help, is sky's the limit. But one thing I do want to talk to you about, Lee, is that one of the key things for this trade happening was Alec Burke. They kept telling us Alec Burke is the scorer, right? To help Brunson, to help. He's here. We brought him here to help Brunson, right? But I'm not seeing much from Burks. It's like very up and down so far. He's very lax. I don't know if that's he has to transition from playing in Detroit to playing in New York where it's counting yet. But a lot of times he has these lapses where he's not going hard, he's not going to the bucket, he's not running down the court. I know it's only 3 games, but come on, you snap out of it, please, Alec. And yeah, that's about
Orlando
it. That's
Magic 118, Knicks 100. Main man, Alec Burks, 13 points tonight, 3 rebounds, 0 assists. Made me feel a little foolish, like a dumbass for being on SNY TV and saying we were an Alec Burks move away from winning a championship. I'm hoping that after the All-Star break that Tate looks a little bit more intelligent because right now, man, Jordan Clarkson, my guy. We also have Precious Achua. I tried to tell y'all, man. You thought he was a throw-in. You thought he was a bum, bad hands. I didn't see all those things. I saw talent. You always trust a Pat Riley draft pick. And exactly. My guy Precious, he's been anchoring that defense. He's showing to me that combination of him and OG, there's not that much of a drop-off defensively. I think has a higher IQ, is a smarter defender, makes better choices and decisions, but Precious is just as talented and has just as his lateral movement staying in front of his the opposing player. I, I love his tenacity. I think we needed somebody like that off the bench, a little bit of an attitude, some moxie, and I like the energy that he brings that we really haven't had since Emmanuel Quickly. When he comes into the game, he changes the tone and the vibe of the game, especially when he's off the bench, which I like him even more in that position. I can't wait till him, OG, and Mitchell Robinson are sharing the floor together. That is going to be some 1990s lockdown, Mason, Oakley, Ewing level defense, and I can't wait for that. Precious
yeah.
at 23 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists. Josh Hart, 4 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Ebony, what do you think about how our guys play tonight?
Josh Hart, I'm a Hart fan. I'm normally his defender, his lawyer, whatever you want to call it. But today he like I call out he was making me mad. He made me mad. I get it. Maybe the leg's not there. And you telling him to move and it don't. Who knows? I don't know. But he was getting beat all day by bigger players. Like normally we like, all right, you got the bigger player. They're gonna over power you, maybe shoot over you. He was letting them drive by him on some simple moves. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, okay, maybe just sit Josh this whole game. Maybe he's already taking his All-Star break. He started it already because he was it wasn't good today for Josh. He had his moments. He's rebounded. He pushed a couple times. But my biggest thing on today was that other end. He didn't have it.
He seems to fill up the stat box. It's funny, like I try to compare him to guys that the Knicks had in the past, like maybe like a Ronnie Brewer, someone who on other teams was really, really impactful. You think about Josh Hart in the Lakers or New Orleans, Ronnie
Uh-huh.
Brewer in Chicago. But when they come to New York, they'd be a little frustrated because of their decision making and their offensive limitations. Hart, though, except for a night, he tends to really fill up the stat box. Now that's easier when guys are out and you're playing 40 plus minutes. I agree. But I think even when everyone's healthy, Josh Hart at the most end of most nights probably can give you 7 rebounds, 3 or 4 assists, and somewhere between 6 and 8 points. Like overall, statistically, he's not a bad player, but it's that eye test. It's the terrible passing, the terrible turnovers. And honestly, I think his one-on-one defense is a little bit overrated. I've been seeing him get cooked throughout the season. Before guys went down, after guys went down, in one-on-one situations where it really shouldn't matter who the other 4 players are on the floor because your role and your job at that time is to guard the guy in front of you. And I've seen him get cooked by smaller guards, bigger wings, Europeans tonight. Franz Wagner torched them. So yeah, I want to see this team in its full totality when everybody is healthy. But Josh Hart, to me, I've been critical for this entire season. He's a guy that this summer I I know the Villanova guys. If you can't get Mikal Bridges, then it's okay to trade Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart needs to be one of the P. I think that's why his contract is priced the way it is to be eventually packaged for a better player. If there's anyone that I'm looking for to be moved, it's him because that unreliability to hit a three when you really need one, it ends up being 4 on 5 on the offensive end out there, and that is going to be really dangerous heading into the playoffs because Tibbs is going to play him and he's going to play him a lot.
Yeah. The one thing about Josh, I'm gonna keep saying because I know like his level of play, his energy, he can bring it. As you can see, he had a great save and things of that nature today. So he still hustled. It's just that his he hasn't played as smart. And I think the whole long year, like I said, it might have taken it might have taken a toll on him. So he might need this break too. Fresh, newborns, new twins, Olympics on top of his first time in the playoffs last year. He's been nonstop. But I agree. I just think we have to keep him in motion. Josh
Yeah.
Hart is his it's at his best when he's in motion, when he's constantly in motion, whether that's in fast break, pick and roll. He needs a running start or not to think while he's shooting to be make a difference. I'm not where I think we'll see his worth in the playoffs more so. And also, like you said about the trading, he a lot of people love Josh Hart. I don't think it's going to be hard to get rid of that contract, to be honest.
Yeah, I hope so. Him and I love Precious Achua, but both him and Achua were getting beat in the post, having to play position out of position in a bigger slot. Hart's having to play 3 and 4 minutes. Achua's playing the 5, and I understand a lot of those opportunities. They don't get beat a lot. They don't be outmatched and overpowered. And I'm hoping we're fully healthy. Hart's able to slot into that shooting guard, small forward position. But I'm telling you that it's a 3 ball. Luckily, we have a lot better spacing and a lot better shooters this season than we did last season. So when RJ shots off and quickly shots off and Grimes is too scared to shoot, Hart becomes more of an issue on the offensive end. And I'm hoping with the additions of Burks, Bogdanovich, and DiVincenzo, but that's not so much a case. I want to go back to something that you talked about, Burks. I liked I don't necessarily like the pace in which he's playing, and I agree. He doesn't seem to play with that sense of urgency either that the rest of the Knicks are playing with. I do think that will come along. I think he's still trying to find his role. That level of familiarity he had, yes, he has that with Tibbs and Leon Rose, but it's a brand new roster that he's playing, especially with injuries, with Mitchell Robinson out. These are a lot of guys he hasn't played with. Isaiah Hartenstein's never played with, Precious, and especially Brunson and DiVincenzo. These are dudes that he's never shared the floor with. So he is someone who I'm less worried about than Hart. Most importantly for Burks, once everyone's back into their role in that 9-man rotation set, he's coming off the bench. He really just needs to be able to hit that 3-pointer in the corner. That's going to be the most important thing that he can do. Because I think that when OG is running with the second unit, OG can be more the playmaker, and Burks can be less of the playmaker and more of that spot-up shooter. Is that do you feel that way, or do you think Burks needs to be showing more playmaking now so he can share that responsibility with Brunson in the future?
I think Burks needs to work on it now. The shot selection, some of them he took with a lot of them he took was a little suspect, not in so much the flow of the offense, just one on one. He needs to do be Burks, but within the flow of the offense, and he was brought here to try to help alleviate some of that pressure off of Brunson. So I was kind of hoping to see that how that looks, you know. Everybody said, hey, we bring him here, he could take some of the load. So I expected him to help Brunson, especially with the double team. I thought that would help, help Burks because he's a bucket. So they're doubling Brunson. That takes less attention off of you, and it didn't. It didn't. He didn't step up the way I thought he would. In my head, I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, yo, Grimes could have did this. I'm like, Grimes could have did this. But Grimes is in Detroit, and we got to make it work with Burks. But he has to get into a winning mode. It was a time where he just stood there for a pass, and they jumped the passing lane, and he could have got the ball, but because he didn't, go to it, it was a turnover. I'm not gonna get too much on Burks, but I told you, you know. You know it.
Have you noticed that Burks kind of shows a fear of going past the free throw line? He has shown a pretty good first step and dribbling ability to get past his man and get to the free throw line. But inside the free throw line, I don't know if I've seen him hit a single shot. I can't recall a time where he's taken a shot around the rim. Maybe once, maybe twice, but that's it. All of his shots are coming from the free throw line out. He seems a lot more comfortable in the 3-point line. That also worries me because in the 7-game series, coaches are going to key into that and really push him into uncomfortable zones and give him everything below the free throw line.
They're gonna run him off the line exactly, especially if he hitting. But also that could be worrisome because, excuse me, because he can't. What kind of shot creation are you getting for others? You're breaking down the defense. You go to the hole, they think you're going for a layup. You can kick it out, things of that nature. You just stop him pulling up mid range. He's basically being really just an offensive specialist. It's not, you're not trying to get other shots too. That comes with trying to help Brunson. Can you get him some easy shots also?
Let's take a look at the stats here. We got points in the paint. Orlando Magic, 60. Knicks, 40. That's an incredible disparity right there. That is usually a metric that the Knicks typically dominate night to night. Understand we're not fully healthy, but that means we were having a lot of trouble getting to the rim as well, which also shows how poor our spacing is with this current 9-man rotation that we have, especially in that starting 5. 3-point percentage. Orlando shot 46%, especially Paolo Banchero. I believe he hit 6 threes tonight. He was on fire from 3. Knicks had a real hard time navigating screens because he was getting open on a lot of these shots too, not down the 3 ball. Knicks only shot 37.9. Not a terrible percentage from 3, but we're definitely missing my main man, Dante DiVincenzo. Overall field goal percentage just factors in those 20 extra points in the paint. Knicks 41.7, Orlando 63.2. Orlando pretty much had their way in every capacity here, all over the floor. They were getting pretty easy looks for the most part. And I want to talk about the Orlando Magic. I know you're someone who loves the rest of the NBA. You watch the rest of the NBA. There are 2 names in the Orlando organization I think aren't widely known by the casual fan. One is Jamal Mosley, who should have been the coach in Dallas Mavericks. The other one is John Hammond, who has since stepped back and allowed the assistant GM, Anthony Parker, former player, to take over as the general manager. But John Hammond has really built a solid team here in Orlando. They're big at every position, oddly enough, but center. But at center, Wendell Carter Jr. is a very nice center. That was a fleece trade they did for Nikola Vucevic. I believe we got 2 first-round picks, and Wendell Carter Jr. already won that trade in year 1. But the Wagner brothers, Mo and Franz, these guys are presenting a brand new prototype for the European. Tight handle, quick first step, great off the dribble bounce. Franz is a 5-level scorer. Mo not yet, but Franz is. Franz has a really nice post game on the pivot, and I love they're dogs. These guys are not afraid of anything. They have an old school mentality. I mean, it really shows how advanced the European game has gone. That these 2 brothers from Germany and Hartenstein too. I mean, it's producing a high level of talent, but especially the Wagners who came in, after the 2000s, where the game really started to accelerate internationally. These guys are 2. Franz has star potential. Mo, I think, to be a very good starter, but combined with Paolo Banchero, the Magic have a very good young core. And I wanted to get your take on the last couple of years of drafting and how they built this team from the inside.
Yeah, well, they've been bad for a long time too. So when you've been bad and they have their picks, you could draft. Sometimes they hit and sometimes you don't. Same thing with OKC. They have like a plethora of young players come through it. But what I like about what the Magic did is something that liked about our team pre-trade. Not so much this trade, now, but pre-trade is that everybody plays defense.
Right.
Everybody over there is no, you don't have to hide many people. Maybe Joe Ingles, and even he is very rugged on that end.
Facts.
Um, so you don't have to hide anything. That's where they get you. They're one of the top defending teams in the league. They don't score many points. They're not a good 3-point shooting team. They're not a good rebounding team. But they do hang their hats on that other end. You have a 6'6", or 6'6", 6'7" point guard and Anthony Black, who's a young stud on that end also. They have the hard parts of the game down, and then you have stars or budding stars, young stars who like to play that end of the court, and they don't back down. You see Cole Anthony constant bugging, constant in your face, constant attacking you. They don't. Jay, same thing with Suggs. He didn't play today, but again, another person that's a dog on that end and constant pressure. Yeah, they're gonna be good. They figure it out. They're young, so they turn the ball over and things of that nature. They make young team mistakes, but they're going to be okay because if he gets that 3-point like he was today, everybody turns into Steph when they play us. But if he gets that 3-pointer consistently, yeah, they're another team we're going to have to worry about.
Yeah, they seem to be a team that has learned from their mistakes too. Like the Detroit Pistons have kind of been making the same mistakes for 2 decades now, since the 04 team, where they're trying to go through trades to build their team. That Magic team that went to the finals in 2010, I believe. I think Jameer Nelson and Dwight Howard were the only homegrown talent on that roster. They really utilized trades and free agency. This one is almost every player on the roster was got there through the draft. And that's really impressive. And I think they've done 2 things that have really stood out to me that have been really instrumental in them maintaining their upward trajectory. One is they've stood by guys. They haven't traded young guys early when they struggle. Jalen Suggs, since coming to lead, has struggled mightily on the offensive side, but they saw a lot of promise defensively. Now he's one of the best point of attack defenders in the entire NBA, both analytics and the eye test. I mean, you watch him, he has unbelievable hands. He has a lot of hops for his height, but he has really intelligent IQ that he navigates screens really well. And I think he's really great switching 1 through 3. Even though he's undersized, he is a dog and he really understands. And you can tell he watches a lot of tape because he picks up on the opposing team's nuances. And then other guys like standing by and not flipping Wendell Carter Jr., but maintaining him and nurturing him with their roster at the center position, even though they've been having bids every trade deadline. They did tons of bids for Wendell Carter Jr., and they maintained that. Like, that's impressive because not every team, the Knicks included, are willing to stand by their players and allow them to work through the mistakes and making the right choice with that #1 pick when they had Paolo, Jabari Smith, and Chet Holmgren. But I mean, look, Chet is solid. Jabari Smith is up and coming, but Paolo, he is a face of the NBA in about 3 years. Him and Anthony Edwards going to be running this league. Oh, you're on mute.
My bad. I said I definitely agree with you. I definitely agree I like both of those players. Orlando, yeah, they're doing the right thing. On a league where everybody can shoot, what do? You get people that can guard. um,
Nice.
if my team can guard and score at the same time, and your team can only score, I'll take my team over yours. You gotta stop me at least once. I know I can do that with a team like Orlando, and even our team when we're healthy, we can do that. We just got to get Burks together, and he got to do what he said he's going to come here and do,
Yeah.
and not just be a tunnel vision. We're gonna start calling him tunnel vision Burks. You can't just be tunnel vision Burks. You got to look to get others involved, and if you don't have it, it's okay to kick it out. I think Burks never seen a shot he didn't like, and the yeah, he's here. We brought him here to help Brunson. I would like to see that. Definitely, I would like to see him fit in next to Brunson, and that's something I was kind of worried about. Are we even going to be able really to play, Burks and Bogey next to Brunson if if they can't hold the other on the other side of the court?
That's a great point. Is that going to the playoffs? Is that your biggest fear? Is playmaking a backup playmaker for Brunson, taking that pressure off of him, or is it something else?
No, that's definitely it. That's definitely because if you could get somebody else to play make, then it opens up the whole game for everybody, including Brunson or Randall when they come back, whoever it is, because it helps the flow of the game. Now Brunson can go off ball, knowing that somebody else can break down the defense and get it to him if necessary, if they need him, or they could break down and give the pass to Sims. Today that came from Precious, and you're not expecting your
I know.
secondary your secondary ball make playmaking to come from Precious. That's not what we was expecting at all. And that's what we got today. He was hitting Sims with crazy little drop off pass, lobs, whatever. Same thing for Sims. He was hitting the people, open people on for off the offensive rebound, catching, giving people wide open threes. Whether we hit it, that was another question.
Right.
But he was getting people some wide open shots. So yeah, that is something to me because I'm not seeing McBride. He needs more time when it comes to the playmaking ability. I see him moving and picking his spots, relocating very well, looking for a shot and being aggressive. But his handle and speed, burst of speed is not there to get him in the lane like that just yet.
I agree. That's my number one concern as well. I don't think there's anyone else on the roster capable of doing it at the level that Burks is supposed to do it at. My hope is that in the playoffs, we get additional playmaking from Randall, OG, and Dante DiVincenzo, maybe even a little bit from Josh Hart. But that second unit, they really struggle to get their own shot. You're thinking about guys fully healthy, Mitchell Robinson, Precious, and Josh Hart. And it maybe Bojan. I'm not sure exactly how the rotation is going to play itself out by that time. But those are all guys that either excel or desperately need someone to get them their offense initiated. So yeah, that backup playmaker role is going to be crucial. And Brunson can be very elite off ball. I'm glad you mentioned that. I mean, that's what made him and Quickly such a dangerous pairing to close out games. If Birds can't replicate that, it's going to be easier to pinpoint Brunson and the game plan for that. Just throwing a bunch of traps and doubles at him at the end of games. So we've talked a lot about this smackdown with the Knicks just experience. I think both of us are pretty calm and collected on the fact that we have a lot of injuries and this is going to eventually improve when guys get back into the fold. But I want to review the first half of the season now that we're at the halfway mark with the All-Stars game this weekend with a lot of Knicks involved too. Shout out Brunson, shout out Randall, shout out Jacob Toppin. I think
Got to
that's
see Jacob.
yeah. Yeah, that was great. I want to talk about the first half of the season, and since it's Valentine's Day, play a little Valentine's Day version. Who is your Valentine on the Knicks? What do you want to break up with in terms of something you don't like the Knicks have done in the first half of the season? And what are you in love with that the Knicks have done in the first half of the season?
Um, Let's see. What do I like to break up with? Um, with these minutes played, with the amount of minutes Tibbs are playing the players, I get that you need to play your best player, and I'm all for that. But there are times when we're like, why is a player in the game? We need to limit those times. I would like to break up with that. I would like to have whoever's impacting the game at that game, that particular game, be in the game. So if Brunson don't have it just now,
Yeah.
don't force the 40 minutes. Maybe get him 25. You understand, like stuff
Yes.
like that. Maybe if Deuce is hitting six threes, don't take him out because it's his time to get out. Let him rock until he misses, type thing. Um, that I would like to break up with that. What was the other one? Who's
We'll do one at a time. I'll give you mine. I think
okay?
that's good because the minutes, I think I'm not one of those people who's going to say that the minutes have caused the injuries to happen, but I think it's been a factor in guys being exhausted and
Mm-hmm.
put in positions to be prone to get injured. Yeah, mine's right on line. I want to break up with Tibbs's forced hand on having to play Josh Hart every game or having to play Josh Hart a certain number of minutes every game. And that's say it's not just I'm pointing out Josh Hart, but Josh Hart is the one who I think has struggled. Him and Burts, those are two guys that I think should at times should be able to be set or benched, especially in the fourth quarter. If they don't have their shot going, don't be afraid to bench them and let them do some bride into the rotation and finish out the second half of the fourth quarter, or play the third and fourth quarters.
Mm-hmm.
The first half has shown that Birds doesn't have a shot, or Josh Hart is playing like ass. So just being a little bit more flexible and situational with one or two guys outside of that 9-man rotation because we're deep. I think Precious, Sims, and McBride eventually will be out of the rotation, but allow for some flexibility to at least pick one of those guys, depending on what your need are. And Tibbs's reluctance to really ever, like you always call it, freestyle. That's what I want to break up with that. I've had enough of that. And I think it's held us back from reaching our full potential because these guys, and you've said this, they're showing you all they can do when given opportunity. We didn't know Precious had playmaking. We didn't know he had the scoring touch around the rim. We didn't know he had the offensive rebounding, but he has these things because he's actually been given the minutes and the allowance to do it. So that's my first one. Second, what do you love? What's something that's happened in the Knicks this season that you absolutely are thrilled to see and are in love with?
You're gonna be surprised. The OG trade.
Let's go. You were on lookout. You're on
Yeah,
lookout.
the OG trade. As I said, you're gonna be surprised. Definitely. Just because I knew we created the hole with the bench, and we still kind of have that hole because we haven't really been healthy to see if we plugged it really. But just the fact that we have a defender, two defenders. When you talk about Precious, I can't forget about Precious because he's definitely a big part of that trade. So you have two people who can hold that Tatum kind of archetype,
Yes.
something that we have had issues with
Yep.
for years and years. So to actually have somebody that you can really guard 1 through 4, 5 sometimes is a big plus, and to be so efficient on from a place where we get a lot of open shots, which is that corner. It's just like it's like a perfect fit for perfect players for what we needed, and we got two of them. So yeah, that definitely is a big. I love the trade. I love that trade.
Glad to hear you say that. You of the four of us, you're the one that was in
Yeah,
the middle of it when it first happened.
I
But I understand. We got rid of quickly, man. That hurt for sure.
super skeptical because I'm thinking, well, you see, RJ is doing his thing in Toronto, so it
Yeah,
was it wasn't that we were wrong about him. We just maybe he just wasn't right for us.
I agree. Especially
So,
the way this roster was built out with Randall there as well.
mm-hmm.
I agree.
Yeah. So I definitely that's the what I love. And yeah. Oh,
I'm
hold
glad.
on, hold on. And I ain't gonna look for I just love to see the development of our bigs, of
Yeah,
all of them. Like I know that Sims, I like Sims, but he's homegrown, so maybe I'm biased towards him. But to see that he's being very disciplined, and he got a little floater to him. Uh, he has some touch, and he's getting confident. looking to go up and embarrass people sometimes. I'm excited about to see his growth. I don't know if we're gonna see him much more, but I was excited to see the little bit that I did get to see from him. So yeah.
You're right. Mitchell Robinson, first half of the season, looked like a defensive player of the year candidate. He goes down. Hartenstein comes in. He looks like the most improved player candidate. Like that center rotation, we had the best center rotation in the NBA, and I think Sims has an unmet ceiling that we haven't even seen yet. And you're right. You made a point before we hopped on the show. Iron sharpens iron. I mean, he's practicing with these guys every game, so he's going to eventually pick up nuances. Maybe it's a little bit of Hartenstein's passing or Mitchell Robinson's keeping out of foul trouble and knowing how to defend and how to go after offensive rebounds is going to be clutch in his development.
Yeah.
I love. Oh, go ahead.
Now I was about to say that helps us for playoffs too. Foul trouble happens, we won't be worried.
Sims is probably the guy most likely to come off the bench because of if we go as deep as I think we will, we're going to match up with the KPs and Brook Lopez's and Nikola Jokic in the
And that's
final.
where he does the best at. I was actually upset that Tibbs didn't put him on Banchero because he was killing Precious. So I'm like, at least try Sims on him because he pretty much had Wendell. He wasn't a factor
Right.
until Precious came and switched on him. Then he was. They were playing. He's undersized, so they did what they did.
I am in love with the shooting. I've never seen. I don't think there is a Knicks team in the history of the Knicks that has been as good at shooting as this one. Maybe Knicks tape, but those guys were like one-dimensional shooters, right? Like Jason Kidd could spot up for a wide open three. You put a guy on him, he can't create off the dribble. Steve Novak, if someone was even a foot near Steve Novak, that was a brick. He had to be wide, clear out, like wide open for him to hit a three. J.R. Smith could hit threes, Rasheed Wallace, Carmelo. But this team, only team in the NBA, five guys shooting over 40% from the field. And OG's right behind, at 38, 39. So we could have six guys once OG returns. But DiVincenzo, the best shooter of my lifetime. Like I wasn't around for Allen Houston prime. I was only here for Allen Houston on a bench in a suit. So DiVincenzo is a flamethrower from three. And we haven't seen it yet, but I love the idea of Bojan in one corner, OG in the other, and then just like splashing threes on every play once Brunson breaks down the defense, driving to the hoop. Like that's going to be, we got two guys that are constant decoys in Randall and Brunson that are going to leave those guys open in the corners, and they're two of the best corner shooters in the NBA. So I'm in love with the shooting. I hope it continues, and I can't wait to see everyone healthy, all those five of those guys on the floor at the same time.
Yes, I agree with everything. Yeah, the shooting, I like shooting. I like shooters. I was one. So yeah, I like it. I like it a lot. The offense, we looking real good, even defensively. But we have more holes on that end. And that's what I'm excited to see if is my imagination or we could get through this. I like it. I just we have to keep the pressure of being a scrappy team. You
Yes.
know, I think that's where we won a lot of games that we didn't think we should have won. They came through from our defense and just hustle and the ugly plays. I don't
Facts.
want to lose that aspect of our identity, and I don't see Alec Burke adding to that.
But you know what, though? At the same time, I mean, it's impossible to lose that identity when Mitchell Robinson comes back and OG comes back and Precious is still in the rotation. Brunson's still in the rotation. Like, I'm not too worried about that. It's Burt's role, period. Everything that involves Burt's, I am a bit concerned right now.
Like, when we used to talk about Burks before he came back, and I used to tell you all the time that I like shooting guard Burks, not so much point guard Burks, right? Well, I'm not liking shooting guard Burks so much right now.
I don't like Burt's period right now. Yeah, it's. I feel like though he's such a professional and he knows Tibbs so well, he's got to be coachable. He has to be someone who's not willing to listen what Tibbs says. I do think it will work itself out. And luckily, when we're fully healthy, we have a depth. If he needs to be benched, he can be benched, and it just means DiVincenzo is no longer off ball; he's on ball, which takes away from his shooting ability as a catch and shoot sniper. Who in the Knicks do you love? Who's your Valentine this year?
Well, you already know who it will be, but he only played a couple of months. It would be my guy. I love the way he came out, and I loved especially because before the season I had made it a personal goal that I was going to defend him like I was his lawyer. So he helped me a lot because he was playing so elite. But somebody that played majority has to be Brunson. It definitely has to. Brunson has to be my Valentine. Remember, I told you he is slowly crossing over to that favorite player, not just favorite Nick, but favorite player. Just love his mentality and the fact that how can you guard him? Who can guard him but himself? Only he really can stop himself. It doesn't matter if you're 7 foot, doesn't matter if you're 6 foot, doesn't matter if you're a vet in this league, it doesn't matter if you're a rookie in this league. He's schooling everybody, and I love it. And he just, proving all the doubters and haters, making them look foolish. So yeah, definitely. And he's putting us in this limelight now, making people respect us, and they have to be believers. When the lights are the brightest, he performs. So I love players like that.
Flawless pick. I'm going to switch it up. Leon Rose is my Valentine. I think he is the best executive in the NBA. Um, I think that he has single-handedly removed the perception of the Knicks being a laughing stock and a poverty franchise and one filled with incompetence. And the team you go to when you want a fat paycheck or to fleece.
Yeah.
That's how we were known since Dolan was handed the team on a silver platter by his daddy. And Leon Rose has brought professionalism and identity and hard work and dedication and development. He stuck by Tibbs when bums like me were saying fire him. He stuck by Randall when he was telling the fans thumbs down. He stuck by Mitchell Robinson during injuries and foul issues. And he knew he failed to sell Obi when he should, but I think he
Mhm.
learned from that. And he sold Emmanuel quickly and RJ before RJ had a bad season and before quickly had struggles, he sold them at a very high level of value and got back two guys that are going to be instrumental in us eventually winning a championship. I mean, OG Anunoby, I think, can be a defensive player of the year candidate
Yeah.
in future seasons. Leon, everything on the court, off the court, the hiring, going in, firing all of Dolan's interns and bringing in guys like Brock Aller, Walt Perrin. That was clutch. Him and Worldwide Wes. I wanted to give Wes his props too, because Wes is not just an intern himself. His connections have helped his team grow, and he's helped bring guys like Brunson and DiVincenzo of his team. He was the one who won it quickly. So I give both those guys a lot of credit. They're my Valentines for turning his team around from the hardness of the Phil Jackson years.
Nah, that's a good one. That is definitely a good pick. I like Leon Rose. I was one of the ones that wasn't down on Leon Rose. Tibbs, yes. Leon Rose, that was the one gripe I had against them is that I didn't feel they was holding Tibbs accountable, at points. So I'm
Agreed.
like, okay, you're doing a great job. I like the patience because, like you said, the patience is restoring things that people can't fleece. We're not rushing to make deals. You have to come with a respectful deal, or they're not even, thinking about it. The fact that they're so tight-lipped, all you can do is speculate in any reports. That's why the sources thing is funny to us because they're so tight-lipped.
Mhm.
You don't know what is going on. Like just the chess match that they played with not telling about OG's surgery until after the deal was made. So you can't use that extra little tidbit to think they were desperate and try to fleece us. Like little stuff like that. The fact that now ESPN has to talk about us correctly or they don't talk about us at all. You know, um, it's a lot of things this front office did that I liked, and the fact that they didn't make that Donovan Mitchell trade when anybody that we had prior would have made that trade quick, fast, in a hurry. Um, so I was one of the ones that didn't want that trade to go down either. Donovan Mitchell is a great player, but he's not the player to get you over that. He needs a lot around him to make it work. Um, so yeah, I like that, and especially with the OG trade, it just made me like our front office more.
I thought he could have won Executive of the Year last year. I think he absolutely is a front
Yes,
runner to win it this year with the DiVincenzo signing, the OG and Precious trade, and then the Bojan and Birch trade. I can't think of another front office executive that had a better season with their respective team and Leon did with the Knicks. I mean, the moves he made this year is what turned us into a contender, adding
yeah.
to the depth and being able to withstand injuries.
Number one, you're number one. Oh, can't
Yeah.
see it. Dag, that's the number one up there. Damn blur. I don't know. It just blur everything out but me. That's weird. There you go.
And you know what though? I think it's pretty dope that we've established such a strong relationship with the Detroit Pistons. Like the Pistons are a team that have done us so many favors, giving us Derrick Rose for Dennis Smith Jr., taking on a pick to salary dump Burks and Noel as we just signed Brunson outright, and then giving us Burks and Bojan back for one of the biggest fleeces in recent Knicks trade history. And then we can also deal with teams like the Toronto Raptors. Like we are in lawsuit with this team, and we fleeced them for OG and Precious. Like that, no other past GM of our generation has ever shown that level of competence in dealing with opposing teams and
Yeah.
winning.
That's why I said anything's possible.
Facts. Whoa, where'd you go? Anything's possible, including Ebony disappearing. So yeah, I'll BS a minute. Maybe her laptop died, or she needs to get a plug in. But appreciate y'all watching the Time Show. I'm gonna shout out some homies here in the chat. We got Fritz Alexander, best mod in the game. Y'all already knew that though. Give it up for Fritz. Annie Gaming Network, we see you. Anna Drill, one Glamour Knits. Shout out my Dallas homie. I think Glamour Knits and I are probably the two most hated knit fans in the DFW Metroplex because her and I are constantly walking out in our knits gear, doing nothing but dirty looks and trash talking from these bum ass Mav fans. Salty that we have Brunson number 11 on our back of our jersey. It's not our fault that Leon Rose fleeced you. Talk to Mark Cuban and Nico Harrison. So I'm gonna wrap this up here, man. I'm gonna shout out a few bruh pits. Ebony just texted me, said her computer shut off on my way. So maybe she'll get back in time to give her bruh pit. My bruh pit for the night is, man, I'm real tired of all the bombing and mass murdering and killing going on at Gaza Strip in Palestine. It's horrible. Every time I turn my social media on, I see more young kids, more babies being murdered and slaughtered by the Israeli government. And I think that it's hard time for the United States to stop sending money to foreign countries, stop funding Ukraine, stop funding Israel, stop funding Taiwan, and really take care of our own, man. We got fentanyl rummaging through the streets, homelessness is at all-time high. Hate crimes, mass murder, gang violence, people breaking into stores in huge metropolitan cities. Like there's a lot in terms of infrastructure, protecting the border, that money could be spent on, making the lives of Americans of all races, creeds, and genders and backgrounds safe and secure, and giving us a better opportunity to seek the American dream instead of giving our tax dollars to fund foreign interests and foreign wars. So that's my bruh pick is the United States of America, the Biden administration, and all these bipartisan bums that are funding genocide across the world. Ebony, you're perfectly in time. I just finished my bruh pick. My bruh pick was America for funding all bloodshed across the
Oh,
world. I'm gonna pass you the mic to see if you have any bruh picks tonight.
you know I do.
Let's
I
go.
have one special girl prick. She just said, "Look at me again, look at me, Knick fans, look at me." Candace Parker doubled down on the wrong and strong. Triple down, whatever you want to call it. Said I got more wrongness, y'all. He said not only now she's saying that he didn't play well on the other end and he was the second best player, so he done moved up. Now he was the second. He was the second best player. He still wasn't better than Jimmy Butler, and that is also definitely not untrue because Brunson was the best player during that second round. You know, it was an ugly series. Butler had more help, is what she should have said,
Right.
because that's exactly what happened. Butler had more help. But again, she's a Bears fan or whatever else. But it just stop talking about us. Like it at this point, just stop. You're not doing yourself any favors. And having accolades don't exclude you from being wrong, y'all. I'm gonna keep saying that because every time you try to point out a legend or something, they start giving you their accolades. I didn't say I didn't know what they did. They were wrong though. That medal don't make them less wrong. Wrong is wrong.
Facts.
So, so just talk facts and stop it. Leave Brunson alone. Like it's getting ridiculous. You look foolish.
I agree. Of everything related to the Knicks, Brunson is probably the one that deserves the least amount of criticism. And it's shocking to me that today in 2024, with the level of NBA history that these people should have as former players, whether WNBA, NBA, but they can look at Jalen Brunson say that heart, that potential, that talent is not 1A. I mean, I don't know much about basketball, but I at least know that. Because when I looked at the Detroit Pistons, I compared this team not to the '04 Pistons, the 1990 Pistons. To me, Jalen Brunson's Isaiah Thomas. Like that comp there, a heart of a warrior,
Mhm.
undersized. Isaiah was only 6'1". Brunson 6. Someone who plays bigger than they are, a post up maestro. Like everything that Zeke had in terms of heart and skill, Brunson does too. And I think he can lead us as a 1A option to a championship.
I agree. I agree. He reminds me of my favorite player all time, and that's Allen Iverson.
Yep.
Just constant grit, no fear. Constant coming to the basket. No matter how many times they put him on his butt, he still will go back to the basket. Small, undersized on defense, but gave effort on that end. And he also reminds me of my current favorite player right now, and that's Steph Curry. Just keeping the receipts, using it for motivation. Steph once told a story how he takes his phone into the locker room and reads Twitter and everything, all the articles, because it gives him, more motivation, like all the hate that they're giving him. Now he reads that. So that's what Jalen Brunson reminds me of all those players. He just has it. When he gets angry, he gets angry, but when they're getting physical, but Angry Brunson is my best version. And to me, I'm like, that's stupid. Y'all don't see it. He go off every time. When y'all gonna stop doing this? Like you're giving more fuel to the fire.
Do you think
um,
that Tim Hardaway Jr. does the same thing and he reads all my articles and tweets calling him a bum? And that's why he lights us up every time we play him.
maybe Lee. Maybe next time we play him, see, don't call him a bum.
It's my fault, y'all. My bad. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. I just hate that guy so much.
Yeah, no, I wasn't a big Tim Hardaway Jr. fan either. I was so mad. We gave him all that money and then turned around and give him a gift. I was
I know. I know.
yeah, that wasn't a bright Nick moment at all. At
But
all.
ooh picks. You got any ooh picks?
Yeah, I got another it was another guess bruh who pick. It was somebody I can't remember. It's an article from the last game, Houston Rockets game, and it went something like I had retweeted it actually. It went something like we thought we were going to see a small, undersized, overachieving guard, right? This is what they say. But we did, but it wasn't who we expected, implying that they're talking about who they implying. They're talking about they thought that they was going to see the greatness of Jalen Brunson
Right.
basically, and they came and it was Aaron. I almost call him Aaron Gordon, Aaron Holiday,
Holiday,
right?
yeah.
So I'm like, hey, come on, guys. If your guy is so good, you don't need to take another guy to make this guy look better. You know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
could just use your guy's accolades and his stats, and that should be enough if that person is really about that life. But when they're not, you got to do stuff like that. And I was telling them, hate is a disease that mofos need to get to cure ASAP. It's not good. It's not good for your health. It's not. It gives real Captain of the Goof Troop vibes, ooh man, all that. It gives it all those vibes. Get the hate up out your system, please. Jeez.
Yeah, if you're comparing or even being slightly sarcastic that Aaron Holiday is on the same level as Jalen Brunson, like, bruh, like,
Man, my man had the game he had because we kept forgetting to guard him.
yeah.
We got one getting doubled and beat down the whole game, and he still had what, like 26, 27, whatever it was. Then we had one that we kept forgetting to guard him. They're not their levels to this. And the
Right.
fact to be so happy about that game, that no shame at all. Like, come on, bring the shame back into sports. That's reckless.
I got a ooh pick. It's my last one. I want to shout out Eddie Presti on Twitter. We all say dumb things sometimes, and myself included. I probably say something stupid about basketball every single day in real life and online. But he made a statement about Cat Karl-Anthony Towns, saying that Ian Begley in the space said that he's going to be the top trade target, and then Ian kind of corrected him on his
Okay.
time. My man Eddie, man, he didn't like BS. He didn't fake anything. He came out and apologized on my bad. Like, that's my mistake. I own that. And I thought that showed a lot of heart. And I thought it showed a lot of maturity because you don't see that a lot on Twitter. When people are wrong, they double down and they embrace their ass crack Tate, and you just hear an even more ass crack Tate following it up. And there's a lot of vanity and a lot of arrogance on Twitter, and Eddie definitely doesn't fall in that category. He's an all around good dude, and that one bad Tate doesn't say anything about his character. He's a great guy, even though I roasted him a little bit, well deserved. That does not mean he's not a good person, and he is, and he's a great Knicks fan.
Eddie's my guy. That's my guy. We go back and forth. He knows how to push my buttons. He does. He does. He'll say what some about Mitch just to mess with me and whatnot. And he likes iHeart. He's an iHeart guy. So we go back and forth about that all the time. But yeah, Eddie is a good guy. He holds a space, a late night space too. On X, if anybody else wants to check it out. If you up and about, he has Nick at Night with my guy Deej also. Yeah, yeah, they're cool peoples. Eddie, he's not everybody's cup of tea, and that's okay. We're not. Nobody is, but
Yep.
he's always a good basketball mind. He'll give you some facts about or opinion, facts behind why he feels that way. And
Yeah,
yeah.
I disagree with him 90% of the time, but 100% he's a great human being, and that matters more than whether I agree
Yeah.
with it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Ebony, tell them where to find you.
You can find me here, KOT at Postgame. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Mad Knick Fan. Also, you can find me at Your Take Knicks. Yeah, Your Take Knicks at pregame space every before every game on Twitter. And yeah, also they're having a watch party hosted by Tony, another guy on Twitter, a Knick watch party for the Celtics, the 24th. So Knick fans to come through. Yeah,
Ebony,
definitely.
who made that dope ass flyer for the event?
Oh, that would be me. More.
Let's go. My girl Ebony on the flyer. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm like an onion, different layers. Nah, I enjoy doing that. I was honored to be able to help with it. I think it's a dope idea to get the Knick community together. We're playing well.
Yeah.
We might as well watch the game together and celebrate.
I wish I was in New York to hang out with y'all live and direct in person. That would be a joy. One day soon, probably during the
Yes,
season.
definitely. Or
Uh,
next time I come out there, because I
let's
love the
go.
barbecue.
I would love that. So it's gonna be a badass time. I have not been reading. I'm not trying to give a book if I haven't actually read a book. So I haven't had time these last few days. My mom has been kind of sick. I had to take her service animal back under my care because she hasn't been doing very well. So I haven't had a chance to read, but I promise by next game that I have a lot of time in between with the All-Star break. I will be knocking out some literature and I'll have one for y'all because I know everyone can't wait for my book club. It's why everyone
Yes.
watches the podcast is for my book club. But I am going to use this space. Shout out my man Eddie Presti. Follow him on Twitter at EDDIEPRESTI_. Eddie Presti. Every trade you've never wanted to hear. Eddie Presti. Eddie Presti has a video on it, so make sure you check that out.
Yeah,
All right, man.
don't take it too serious. Don't take it too serious. He gonna put up trades that you don't want, trades that you might, trades you like, why? Like,
Would you trade Joyce Randle and 3 first-round picks for Poku out of OKC? Hell no, Eddie. Put the sauce down. Log off, go home with your family, enjoy yourself. All right, man. I appreciate y'all joining us for this post game. Jay Ellis and Ryan will be back. Jay Ellis is having to deal with some business stuff, and tomorrow's Valentine's Day, so him and his girl that do it right. My man Ryan's not feeling too well, but both will be back by time Mets game after the All-Star. Y'all enjoy yourselves. Have some fun. Enjoy your late night romantic rendezvous with whoever that might be, and we're here at the KOT. My man, I'm Lee Escobedo. This is Ebony. We appreciate y'all joining. What's the thing JLS always says? Shout out to Worldwide
World
West.
West, yes.
These streets are a mess, for sure. Yeah, especially before Leon Rose. Thank you, my Valentine, for making this not a mess anymore, because boy, were we a mess. All right, we love y'all. We'll see you next time on the show. Shout out from me and Ebony. We out.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.